James Adams with tristatefootball.com here with Coach Noel Rash from Beechwood High School. Coach, we're in the middle of May here, and it's a tough time. You're in between last season, this season. You got to keep your players focused and get them ready for what you hope to be a push to December. How do you get your guys focused here at this time of year?
Well, a structured program is the most simple answer to that. But more importantly is I have a great weight room guy, a guy by the name of Jeff Reinstadler, and talked to a lot of weight coaches when we put this great building together in this facility, and they talked about there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, but the most important thing is to have somebody in charge that motivates kids to get excited, because there's a lot of ways to prep yourself and get your body ready. So long story short, I think putting Jeff in charge, and number two, the kind of kids that we have, they're ready to work and they know what it's going to take.
Coach, I know the goal here is the state championship. It's been that way for a long time. You've got 2 under your belt, but it's been 4 years since, and all 4 years it's been the same roadblock, Mayfield. How much do you put towards that one school when you're dealing with game planning in the middle of the offseason where we're at now?
Well, there's certainly there's always concerns about your opponents and things like that, but if you get too far away from not taking care of your own concerns, then you end up playing piecemeal week to week, and then you don't have an identity, and that can create some real problems. I don't know if you can win doing that. But, Mayfield's a great program, obviously, and certainly they're on our radar. We certainly put them in our thoughts and how we prep. But you know what? We're going to follow the Beechwood method, and we've run into a roadblock, but I can tell you what, we're going to bust through.
Coach, in the last 6 years, 2 state titles, the other 4 years in the Final Four. That would be one of the best records any school could hope for in almost anywhere in Kentucky. But tradition is rich here at Beechwood. Pressure is high here at Beechwood. How do you maintain having to know yourself, man, I'm doing a great job here. I mean, we're Final Four every year, yet the pressure here is a state title or nothing.
Well, pressure is exactly what you make of it. And listen, I don't want to be somewhere where 5-5 is acceptable. And I've been blessed to be at some really good schools. And so, Bernie made the program special. Mike took it to a whole nother level, and trying to maintain that through the years is a difficult task. He always told me, staying on top of the mountain, climbing the mountain is a difficult task. Staying on top is the hardest task. And I can tell you, I love it. We're going to eat it up. We're going to continue to eat up the fact that we are, one of the things we break on. We break on one of 2 things as a team. We either break on team or we break on week 15. 15 weeks, and that's going to be our goal, and that's going to be our focus.
Well, that's clearly stuck with one player. Just talked to Luke Miracle, and that's the one thing he talked about was week 14, week 15. Talk about some of the players you have coming in, Coach, and coming back. It's clearly a good roster when you have the success you've had year in, year out. But talk about the guys that are going to be the playmakers on both sides of the ball for you this year.
Well, it's going to be spread out. I mean, this group more than any other is the senior, junior, and sophomore class. We're going to have a lot of balance between those classes as far as guys out on the field playing. We've got to get on the field and find out what guys can handle the Friday night lights. There's some young guys that may love the lights and may get eaten up by the lights. But I can tell you, we are going to be very balanced as far as the classes go. But when you start with the senior class, and that's where I always begin and end, Luke Miracle's a guy we're going to get behind and run downhill with people using him. He's going to be a guy that we count on inside and out. Having said that, we've got some guys out on the edge, and Devin Everett, Max Shover, and then a senior running back, and just a kid that's going to really have a coming out party this year. It's tough playing behind Max Newsbaum and the tailbacks we've had all these years. But Mitch Thomas is going to be our guy, our go-to guy, and what he's done in the offseason, I'm really excited about what he's going to be able to do for us this coming season.
Coach, you're in a small school environment, so I guess you would have to really expect underclassmen to step up just because of the number at the schools. While from year to year it may be a challenge filling in those holes with younger guys, it's probably also a blessing in disguise because you get to build a lot of experience with some of those younger guys. By the time they become seniors, they're almost like freshmen in college with the experience.
It is, and we were blessed with that freshman class. Was a very talented class last year. In fact, we had 4 kids, and you can make an argument for 5 that when their season ended, because I don't ever bring them up early. I want them to go compete as a class. But when their season ended in a freshman championship, which we were very pleased with, we had 5 kids starting for us, and 4 starting and 5 playing significant amount of time, and they seem to love the lights, and so I'm excited. It's another year. They have that experience, and as we always say, the minute the season ends, you're a sophomore, you're a junior, you're a senior. Forget your old status. You may still be a freshman in that building up top, but down here you're already a sophomore. And just like Luke Miracle, he's still a junior class-wise, but he's a senior when it comes to football. Yeah,
absolutely. He looks like it too, Coach. Let's talk a little bit about the schedule, in particular in district. You guys have had a good run in district, and I wonder, how much do you like or dislike the fact that the district is so small? You're really guaranteed a playoff spot already. Do you enjoy knowing that, or would you like to have more to work for in the regular season?
Well, I think there's pluses and minuses to both arguments. I really do. And here's the thing: I've always said this. I don't do a lot of front end on the political end of things, as far as when we got into the new class structure and all that. So I certainly don't want to complain on the back end. The states has made decisions to go to 6 classes and divide these things up. That's what they're doing. We're going to play in the ballpark they put us in, and we're going to go like heck. And wherever they place us, everybody's already talking about 2014 and the restructuring. If we end up 2A, 3A, 1A, wherever they put us, we're going to go play. And so, there's always good and bad. I think you got to make them positives. You got to find the positives in the fact of the situation the way it is. To humdrum about what's already in place, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, nor do I have a lot of time to do that.
Well, Coach, I know from a fan's perspective, I would really like to see Beechwood and Newcath in the same district again. That was really one of the best or the second best, given the year, regular season matchup. I'd love to see you guys have that matchup again. I don't know if you would. I know you play them anyway. I don't know if it makes a difference to you whether or not they're in the district.
Well, it does. And listen, obviously we loved it. That was a great rivalry. It always will be. I don't know if the rivalry's changed a whole lot. It may have changed in the bleachers a little bit for fans, but I think if you talk to Eddie and you talk to Wags this year, and you talk to Bob Schneider, one of the first things we said when the structuring went on was, we're still playing each other in Week 10. And he was, Coach Schneider was just as excited as I was, and I could tell you that there's a lot on the line that night, because it's just about that Northern Kentucky pride, and there's a lot of pride with the kind of football that's played in this region.
Great primer for the playoffs, and you have a couple other games like that on your schedule. You like to schedule these tough teams that you don't have to play, I'm sure, for a playoff run.
No doubt, and we got into a little deal about maybe going too deep in the schedule with, Connor, Boone, Dixie, Highlands, Covcath. That was a tough 5 or 6 week road to hoe when you got 40 boys in a graduating class. But at the same time, it was a great challenge. I never saw our kids waver. I think our coaches and the adults waver more than the kids on it. But you always worry about health and those concerns. But at the same time, it's all about finding out your weaknesses and then securing them and then going on that run. And that's a formula that was put in place way before I ever got here. And like most coaches, I'm just stealing from people that are great coaches that have already been under.
Well, Coach, you say your players don't waver. I think the tradition that's been built up here, and you've had much to do with it, they don't know they're a 1A school. They don't think of themselves that way, and you can see it the way you play, and I think that's probably part of your big success, but part of the swagger that the kids have on the field, because they don't look at themselves as a 1A school. They're just a Kentucky high school.
I wouldn't disagree with you at all. I mean, the 2011 season's a great example of that. 12-2, we lost to Covcath and we lost to Mayfield. And all those other big schools on our schedule we took down and did so handedly, and that was a talented bunch. But yeah, I think that's part of the way the kids carry themselves here and are expected to carry themselves, and they've got to meet that challenge. And that's set by those groups that came on. You could date it way back, but certainly back to the 80s and then through that 90s run with Coach Yeagle and that bunch. And this group understands. They know the history. Well, Coach, you alluded to the word mystique. If you won't use it, I will, but there is a mystique about Beechwood, and trust me, all the other schools in your district, there's something about Beechwood that's bigger than a 1A school to them. If you don't want to say it, I will. Coach, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for the time today. We really look forward to seeing you this season, and we hope to see you in Week 15 this time. Thanks to Tri-State Football. You guys do a great job.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Noel Rash.